After 60, your body doesn't just get older, it gets quieter. Muscles whisper instead of shout. Balance becomes negotiation instead of reflex. And here's what almost nobody tells you. Walking alone, the thing every doctor recommends, might not be enough to protect you from the falls, the fractures, the sudden loss of independence that changes everything overnight. A recent analysis looking at thousands of adults over 60 found that people who only walked had nearly double the fall rate compared to those who added just 2 other types of movement to their week. Double. That's not about fitness vanity. That's about whether you can get off the toilet without grabbing the wall, whether you can carry groceries without fear, whether a stumble on the sidewalk ends in embarrassment or emergency. Now, I'm going to walk you through 3 movements that reverse what walking can't touch. These aren't gym exercises, they don't require equipment, and each one takes less time than brewing coffee. But here's the order that matters. Number 3 builds the hidden stability most people ignore until it's gone. Number 2 attacks the single weakest link in almost every older adult's body, the place where strength vanishes first and returns last. And number 1, this is the movement that consistently shocks people with how fast it changes their daily capability, sometimes in as little as 10 days. It looks almost silly when you first try it, but the physiology behind it is so direct, so undeniable, that major rehabilitation centers now prescribe it before surgery to reduce complications. Before we go further, drop a comment and tell me your age and where you're watching from. I want to know who's in this room with us because what works at 62 might need a small tweak at 75, and I'll address that as we go. Let's start with number 3. Sit to stand without using your hands. You've done this 1,000 times today already. Getting out of a chair, off the edge of the bed, up from the couch. But here's what most people over 60 do wrong. They lean forward hard, push off with their hands, and heave themselves upright. That pattern trains dependence. Your legs learn to wait for your arms to do the work. Over months and years, those leg muscles, especially the quadriceps in the front of your thigh and the glutes in your backside, they atrophy faster than almost any other muscle group in your body. Studies tracking muscle loss in older adults show the quads can shrink by nearly 40% between ages 60 and 80 if they're not challenged directly. 40%. That's the difference between walking upstairs with confidence and gripping the handrail with 2 hands, terrified. Here's why sit to stand is so powerful. It's a compound movement, meaning it forces multiple joints and muscle groups to fire in sequence under load. Your ankles stabilize, your knees extend, your hips hinge, your core braces, all while your body weight creates resistance. It's essentially a squat, but safer and more functional because you have a built-in safety net, the chair behind you. And because you do it every day anyway, adding intentional reps doesn't feel like exercise, it feels like reclaiming capability. Let me tell you about Dorothy. She's 71, a retired school librarian in Ohio, loved gardening but started avoiding it because getting up from a kneeling position had become painful and shaky. She'd grab the fence, the edge of a planter, anything to pull herself upright. I had her start with 5 sit-to-stands every morning before breakfast, arms crossed over her chest. No hands allowed. First week, she could barely do 3 without a tiny hand touch on the armrest. By week 3, she was doing 10 in a row, slow and controlled. By week 5, she was back in her garden beds, no fence grabbing, and she sent me a photo of herself kneeling beside her tomatoes with a grin that said, "Everything." Here's your protocol. Find a sturdy chair, not a couch, something that puts your knees at about a 90-degree angle when you sit. Start with your feet flat, hip-width apart, toes pointing forward. Cross your arms over your chest or hold them straight out in front for balance. Now stand up. Push through your heels, keep your chest lifted, don't let your knees cave inward. Stand all the way to full upright, squeeze your glutes at the top for 1 second, then sit back down with control. That lowering phase, that's called an eccentric contraction, and it's where a huge portion of strength is built. Don't just drop into the seat. Start with 5 reps. If that feels too hard, use a higher chair or let your fingertips touch the armrests lightly for balance, but don't push off with them. If 5 feels easy, go to 10. Do this every single morning. It takes 90 seconds. You can do it while the coffee brews or while you're waiting for your oatmeal to heat. After 2 weeks, try it from a slightly lower chair. After 4 weeks, try it on one leg, just the standing part. You can sit down normally. That progression alone will build more leg strength than a month of casual neighborhood walks. Now here's the kicker. This movement doesn't just build muscle. It trains your nervous system to recruit those muscles fast. That's critical because falls don't happen in slow motion. They happen when you step off a curb wrong or catch your toe on a rug and your body has a quarter of a second to react. Sit to stand practice hardwires that reaction speed back into your legs. Let's move to number 2, and this is the one that surprises people because it doesn't look like strength work at all. It's standing on one leg. Balance. The thing that vanishes so gradually you don't notice until you're wobbling while putting on your pants or feeling uneasy on an escalator. Here's what you need to understand. Balance isn't a single skill. It's a conversation between your inner ear, your vision, and the proprioceptors in your muscles and joints, those tiny sensors that tell your brain where your body is in space. After 60, all 3 systems start to lag. Your inner ear's vestibular function declines. Your visual sharpness dims, especially in low light, and those proprioceptors go quiet as you spend more time sitting and less time challenging your stability. Research, looking at fall risk, consistently finds that inability to stand on one leg for at least 10 seconds is one of the strongest predictors of future falls and even future mortality. Not being able to balance on one foot for 10 seconds has been linked to higher all-cause death rates over the next decade. Think about that. It's not about how much you weigh or how far you can walk. It's about whether your body can still solve the problem of staying upright when support disappears from one side. Here's why single-leg standing works. It forces every stabilizer muscle in your ankle, knee, and hip to activate and micro-adjust constantly. It trains your core to brace without you even thinking about it. And it sharpens those proprioceptive pathways, essentially waking up the sensors that have gone to sleep. It's like tuning an instrument that's been sitting in a closet. The strings are still there, they just need tension again. Let me tell you about Robert. 74, a former electrician in Florida, sharp guy, still drove himself everywhere. But his wife noticed he was grabbing the counter every time he bent down to tie his shoes. She made him try standing on one leg in the kitchen. He lasted 3 seconds before his arms shot out and he had to put his foot down. He was shocked, a little embarrassed. I had him practice every day, 30 seconds total per side, broken into whatever chunks he could manage. First week, 3 to 5 seconds was his max. Second week, 8 seconds. By week 4, he could hold 20 seconds on each leg with his eyes open, and 10 seconds with eyes closed. The real test came when he was walking his dog and the leash jerked suddenly. Old Robert would have stumbled, maybe fallen. New Robert adjusted mid-stride without thinking, his body just solved it. That's the nervous system reboot. Here's your protocol. Stand next to a countertop or a wall, something stable. Lift one foot off the ground, just an inch or two. Don't lean heavily on the counter, just let your fingertips hover near it for safety. Hold for as long as you can, up to 30 seconds. Put your foot down before you lose control and have to grab. Rest 10 seconds. Repeat on the other side. Do 3 rounds per side. Total time, about 4 minutes. If you can't last even 3 seconds without support, start with fingertip touch on the counter and gradually lighten that touch over days. If you can do 30 seconds easily, progress by closing your eyes. That removes your visual input and forces your vestibular system and proprioception to handle the job alone. It's much harder. Another progression is to stand on a pillow or a folded towel, which creates an unstable surface and makes your ankle stabilizers work overtime. Do this every evening. I like evenings because it bookends your day. You've got sit to stand in the morning, building strength, single leg balance in the evening, sharpening stability. And here's the invisible benefit. Better balance reduces the fear of falling. That fear is insidious. It makes you move less, avoid activities, withdraw from life. Better balance gives you confidence back, and confidence makes you move more, which builds more strength, which improves balance further. It's a virtuous cycle. Now, let's talk about number 1. This is the movement that builds strength faster than anything else on this list, and faster than walking could ever dream of delivering. It's the wall push-up, but done with a specific tempo and intention that most people miss. Push-ups are often written off as too hard for older adults, and traditional floor push-ups often are. But a wall push-up is infinitely scalable, safe, and brutally effective at building upper body pressing strength, shoulder stability, and core bracing all at once. Here's why this matters so much after 60. Upper body strength declines even faster than lower body strength in most people because we simply use it less. You walk every day, your legs get some stimulus. But when was the last time you pushed something heavy overhead or shoved a piece of furniture across the room? For most people, rarely. The result is that your chest, shoulders, and triceps waste away quietly. And that might not sound critical until you realize how much of daily life requires upper body push strength. Getting up from the floor if you fall, pushing open a heavy door, lifting a suitcase into an overhead bin. Even getting out of bed if you're weak or recovering from illness, you push down with your arms to help your torso. Rise. A recent review looking at functional independence in older adults found that upper body push strength was a significant predictor of the ability to perform activities of daily living without assistance. People who could do at least 10 wall push-ups had markedly better scores on independence assessments compared to those who couldn't. And here's the speed part. Upper body muscles respond to resistance training faster than lower body muscles do, especially in people who haven't trained them in years. You can see noticeable strength gains in 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes sooner. Your chest and shoulders are hungry for stimulus, and when you finally give it to them, they wake up fast. Let me tell you about Linda. 68, a retired bank manager in North Carolina, active, walked her neighborhood every morning. But she'd lost so much upper body strength that she couldn't push her granddaughter on a swing without her shoulders aching. She felt weak, and it bothered her. I had her start doing wall push-ups every other morning, 3 sets of 8 reps. She did them facing a wall in her hallway, hands just wider than shoulder width, elbows bending to bring her face close to the wall, then pressing back out with control. First session felt awkward and hard. By the end of week 2, she could feel her shoulders and chest working in a way they hadn't in years. By week 4, she was doing 3 sets of 15, and she pushed her granddaughter on that swing for 10 minutes without a single ache. She cried a little when she told me. It wasn't about the swing, it was about being capable again. Here's your protocol. Stand facing a wall, about arm's length away. Place your hands flat on the wall at shoulder height, slightly wider than your shoulders. Step your feet back a bit so your body is at a slight angle, not completely upright. Keep your body straight from head to heels. Engage your core. Don't let your hips sag. Now, bend your elbows and lower your chest toward the wall, aiming to bring your nose close to the surface. Pause for 1 second, then press back to the starting position. That's 1 rep. Start with 3 sets of 5 to 8 reps. Rest about 60 seconds between sets. Do this every other day. Not every day because your muscles need recovery time to rebuild stronger. If the wall feels too easy, step your feet farther back to increase the angle and the load. If it feels too hard, step closer to the wall to decrease the angle. The goal is to make each rep challenging but controlled. You should feel your chest and shoulders working, but you shouldn't be straining or holding your breath. Breathe in as you lower. Breathe out as you press away. After 2 weeks, if 8 reps feels easy, go to 12. After 4 weeks, try doing them from a countertop, which is lower than a wall and increases the difficulty. After 6 weeks, if you're feeling strong, you can try them from the edge of a sturdy couch or even a bench. Some people eventually work down to knee push-ups on the floor, though that's not necessary for functional strength. The wall and countertop variations are more than enough to maintain upper body capability for life. Here's the deeper reason wall push-ups matter. They train horizontal pushing, a movement pattern your body uses constantly but rarely challenges. And they build scapular stability, meaning the muscles that control your shoulder blades learn to hold your shoulders in a safe, strong position. Weak scapular stabilizers lead to shoulder pain, rotator cuff issues, and that rounded forward posture that makes people look frail. Wall push-ups reverse that. They pull your shoulders back, open your chest, and teach your upper back to support your arms properly. Now let's pause and put this all together, because the magic isn't in doing one of these movements. It's in doing all three consistently and understanding how they interact. Sit to stand builds the raw leg strength you need to get up, get down, and navigate stairs. Single leg balance sharpens the stability and reaction speed that keeps you from falling when the unexpected happens. Wall push-ups rebuild the upper body strength that keeps you independent, capable, and confident in your own body. This combination hits every major pillar of functional fitness for people over 60. Strength, balance, stability, and neuromuscular coordination. And the time investment is absurdly small. Sit to stand, 90 seconds in the morning. Wall push-ups, 5 minutes every other morning. Single leg balance, 4 minutes in the evening. On push-up days, you're spending less than 11 minutes total. On non-push-up days, less than 6 minutes. Compare that to an hour-long walk, which is great for cardiovascular health and mood, but doesn't challenge your muscles or balance systems nearly enough to prevent decline. I'm not saying stop walking. Walk for your heart, for your head, for the joy of being outside. But stop believing walking alone will keep you strong. It won't. Walking is endurance. These three movements are armor. They're the difference between aging with capability and aging with fear. Let me give you the science behind why this works so fast. When you challenge a muscle with resistance, even your own body weight, you create micro tears in the muscle fibers. Your body repairs those tears over the next 48 hours and builds the fibers back slightly thicker and stronger. That's hypertrophy. But there's another adaptation that happens even faster, especially in older adults who are detrained. It's called neuromuscular adaptation. Your brain learns to recruit more muscle fibers at once and to fire them in better coordination. This happens in days, not weeks. That's why Dorothy could do 10 sit-to-stands in 3 weeks, and Robert could balance in 4 weeks, and Linda could push her granddaughter in 4 weeks. The muscles were always there. They just needed the signal to wake up. And here's the part that should make you angry. The medical system largely ignores this. Doctors tell older adults to stay active, to walk, to move, but they rarely prescribe specific resistance or balance training. Yet the evidence is overwhelming. A comprehensive review published by researchers analyzing dozens of studies found that resistance training and balance exercises reduced fall risk by up to 40% in older adults. 40%. That's more effective than most medications for most conditions. And the side effects? Increased strength, better mood, improved bone density, enhanced cognitive function. Compare that to the side effects of another medication added to your list. Why isn't every doctor handing out a one-page guide with these 3 movements? Because there's no pill to sell, no procedure to bill, no imaging to order. It's free, it's simple, and it requires you to take responsibility for your own body. That doesn't fit neatly into a 7-minute appointment, but here you are. You're still listening, which means you're one of the people who gets it. You understand that your body after 60 isn't broken, it's just waiting for the right input. These 3 movements are that input. They're not a workout program, they're a maintenance plan. They're how you stay in the driver's seat of your own life instead of becoming a passenger who needs help with everything. Now, let's talk about safety and modifications, because I know some of you are thinking, this sounds great, but I have knee pain. Or, I have shoulder issues. Or, I'm recovering from something and I don't want to make it worse. Fair concerns. Here's how to adapt. For sit to stand, if your knees hurt, start with a higher chair. Kitchen chairs are often too low. Use a dining chair with a cushion, or even sit on your bed if it's the right height. The higher the seat, the less knee bend required, the less stress on the joint. If your knees still complain, see a physical therapist to rule out something mechanical that needs addressing. But for most people, gentle progressive loading actually helps knee pain over time by strengthening the muscles that support the joint. For single-leg balance, if you have a history of ankle sprains or significant arthritis in your feet, keep your hand on the counter for the first 2 weeks. Don't rush the progression. Even light touch balance work is strengthening your stabilizers and retraining your nervous system. And if you have severe balance issues or a history of frequent falls, talk to your doctor or a physical therapist before attempting eyes-closed variations. For wall push-ups, if you have shoulder pain, start with a very upright angle. Hands high on the wall, feet close. Keep your elbows from flaring out to the sides. Tuck them at about a 45-degree angle to your torso. That keeps stress off the shoulder joint and focuses the work on your chest and triceps. If it still hurts, stop and get your shoulder evaluated. Pain is a signal, not something to push through. But for most people, slow controlled wall push-ups done with good form actually reduce shoulder pain over time by strengthening the rotator cuff and scapular stabilizers. One more thing. Consistency beats intensity every single time. It's better to do 5 sit-to-stands every single morning for a year than to do 50 once and never do them again. It's better to balance on one leg for 10 seconds 3 times a week forever than to do it perfectly for a month and quit. These movements only work if they become part of your life, like brushing your teeth or making coffee. They have to be automatic, invisible, woven into your routine so seamlessly that you'd feel weird not doing them. Here's a habit stacking trick. Link each movement to something you already do every day. Sit to stand while the coffee brews. Wall push-ups after you brush your teeth. Single leg balance while you wait for dinner to heat. Your brain loves patterns, and when you attach a new behavior to an existing one, it sticks faster. And track your progress, not obsessively, but enough to see change. Write down how many sit-to-stands you can do without hands touching. Write down how long you can balance on each leg. Write down how many wall push-ups you complete before your arms give out. Check those numbers every 2 weeks. Watching yourself improve is one of the most powerful motivators there is. It rewrites the story you've been telling yourself about aging and decline. It replaces, "I'm getting weaker," with, "I'm getting stronger." Let me tell you about the bigger picture here. These 3 movements are a form of rebellion. They're a rejection of the idea that after 60, your job is to slow down, shrink, and accept loss. That narrative is everywhere. It's in the commercials for walk-in tubs and life alert buttons. It's in the way younger people talk louder and slower when they find out your age. It's in the doctor's office when concerns are dismissed with, "Well, you're getting older." As if aging is a disease instead of a stage of life that can be navigated with intelligence and effort. But your body doesn't know how old you are. Your muscles don't have a calendar. They respond to stimulus, period. If you load them, they grow stronger. If you challenge your balance, it improves. If you move with intention, your nervous system adapts. Age affects the rate of adaptation, sure, but it doesn't eliminate it. A 70-year-old can still build muscle, improve balance, and increase functional capacity. It just takes consistency and patience, and here's the identity shift that happens when you commit to these movements. You stop seeing yourself as fragile. You stop moving through the world with that constant low-level anxiety about whether your body will hold up. You start taking stairs instead of looking for the elevator. You start saying yes to activities you've been avoiding. You start standing taller, literally and figuratively. People around you notice. They ask what you're doing differently. And you get to tell them, "I'm taking care of myself." That confidence radiates. It changes how you show up in your relationships, your hobbies, your community. It gives you permission to keep living fully instead of quietly withdrawing. And that's the real strength these movements build. Not just physical capacity, but the belief that your body is still on your side, still capable, still worth investing in. So here's your action plan. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, do 5 sit-to-stands. Just 5, no hands. See how it feels. Tomorrow evening, stand on one leg for as long as you can, using the counter for safety. Write down the time. The morning after that, do 3 sets of 5 wall push-ups. That's it. You've started. Day 3, repeat the sit to stands. Day 4, repeat the balance. Day 5, rest from push-ups but do the other 2. Build the rhythm. 2 weeks from now, check your numbers. You'll be stronger, steadier, more capable. And 2 months from now, you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. Which of these 3 movements are you going to try first? And what's the one thing you're hoping it will help you do better in your daily life? Drop a comment and let me know.